Today we're going to go over three-way match. What's a three-way match? It just means that we keep all of our ducks in a row and that we match the purchase order to the packing slip and then to the supplier invoice. This enables us to do lots of drill downs, especially from the accounts payable side, so that we can see what's happening with our invoices. The first thing we want to do is we want to enter a PO into the system. Obviously, this isn't going to be on the accounting side. This will be on the purchasing side, but I know many of you in accounting also know how to enter a PO. So in this case, we've picked Potter Metal Supply for our PO, and we have all the relevant information in here. We've got a quantity of 100 and an extended price. Behind this is our product group. Our 10 millimeter would be attached to a part class, and the part class would drive the general ledger control code that will be used for this part. Once we've ordered it, nothing happens with the PO from an accounting perspective. It just sits out there until such time as it's been received. And you can see on the screens, I've put in a packing slip for this particular order. You can see that it's PO number 4241 right here. It's got our purchase order part, and it's saying that here's our receipt part. So this is the first step in our match. The receiving quantity will come from here as well. And down here, you can see on the packing slip, it's pulling in some financial information as well. It's here on the left on this screen. And here we can see if we needed to, we could change the tax category. Not recommended that shipping and receiving change that. We've got a supplier price, and we've got a unit cost of $10, again, coming from the PO, and that our line amount is $1,000. Next, it's time to put in our AP invoice. So you can see that I entered a batch called AP three-way. You would use your whatever your normal group nomenclature is in your system. I just did it for test purposes. I'm using an apply date of July 23rd of 2024. So this is my AP invoice entry for the group. The next thing I'm going to do is, once I start entering an invoice, I'm going to say reference PO 4241. This is going to tie everything together from the PO to the packing slip to the receipt lines. So we've got reference PO 4241. We enter the amount of $1,000. This is all going to come out from your supplier invoice and should, in theory, just be a copy job from that. We've got our invoice date of July 25th, and we've got an apply date of July 26th. Now, remember that we had the PO date does not transfer to the three-way match area, so that we don't have to worry about. This may be different, and oftentimes is, from your packing slip date, which is the date you actually received the goods on your dock, and now you've got your invoice date. You're able to change your apply date to whatever month you want to post it to. So for example, if I received this in July and the invoice date is July, I would want to make sure that my apply date is in July. The apply date can be changed to post to, for example, a previous month if that month is still open. Normally on a three-way match, we would let this default in to whenever you are putting in the invoice. The reason being is that when we receipt it in the goods at the packing slip level, that date is going to generate the general ledger information that will debit either your inventory or your expense. All this apply date does is it pulls it from received not invoiced, which would be, for example, most people put like 2200 area, anything that's in the accounts payable area and is used for your clearing account. So all this is going to do on the invoice level, again, is just going to pull it from received not invoiced and post it into traditional purchase accounts payable account. You fill in your terms and your due date. The due date is when the invoice is actually due for payment. The terms would default from your purchase order, but you can change it at this point. And that would be the top line of your invoice. So now, once we have that invoice in there, we want to do a receipt line. You can find the receipt line where the three dots are. I know a lot of you get frustrated by that. So we can either add the line manually or we can do it as a receipt line. For this one, we want to do it as a receipt line. Once we pull in the receipt line, it's going to pick up that PO number automatically from your header page. And you can see in this one is from your receiving department. When they put in the packing slip, the information is coming in here. So you make sure that you pull that in and then you select the lines hitting the box. It'll move down to the bottom as you see here. One of the things I can relate to you here is that you can do, once you do the line for the PO, you can in fact pull in a second receipt line, which could be from a different PO number. It could be from a different receipt line at the top. So you might have multiple receipts here at the top. You might have only one for this PO. Then you could go out and you could pull in from a second PO and add those receipt lines. Once you're ready, go ahead and create the lines on your invoice. So after that, I always suggest you do a print preview and AP invoice edit list. This way you can take a look at corrections before they're made. You can see here we've got all the information for our test invoice. You can see that we actually entered a discount on this one of $10, and we have a amount of $1,000 here. Notice the entry is the credit to accounts payable and the debit to the accounts payable clearing account, as I said before. So once you're done and everything is corrected, you're going to hit your posting of the group and you're done with AP matching, three-way matching. But if you enter an invoice without a receipt line, you can match it later. So if you look, you're going to enter the invoice as you did before, but this time you're going to pick an unreceived line. This means that there's a PO out there and you're pulling in the costs from the PO, but you don't have a receipt yet in the system. You're going to use this less often, but it is available if you need it. So once we do the no receipt lines, we're going to match it up to that PO, put in our invoice supplier invoice quantity, and put in our extended amount. And notice up here it says no receipt lines, line 1. So we have our $2,200. The line still looks the same. It's going to still pull from the AP clearing account to accounts payable, and everything looks the same, but we haven't matched it yet to the PO. So to do that, you're going to complete the three-way match in that case using invoice/receipt match. You should complete the entry, which will then debit to inventory or expense and credit accounts payable clearing. Any questions?
From Sarah, I missed what was said about where the general ledger control is located on the part.
So when you put in the PO is what generates the GL control is attached to the part class, and that's what will post when you do the packing slip. I can show you in the old system on the lines of your PO. You're going to pick they should pick it's with the part. I'm sorry. Let me go over to the part. So this particular part should be attached to a part class. Okay, so here's the part class on the PO for that particular item. So if I right mouse click on the part class and I go to part class search, it is hardware. Let's see if we can do it via entry. Okay, here's the part class. Here's the GL control code. The GL control code is going to refer back to hardware. And here is our, if we put this to our main account, and so the hardware is going to go to this GL account 1205. So it's a little bit of a drill down if you're in the accounting department. The idea behind the part class is that the people in purchasing do not have to think about what this part class is. So they would understand that they have to put this particular item as hardware. Behind the scenes, you want to say that the part class for hardware is going to book, everything is going to book to this 1205. On a part class, you could have either an inventory account or an expense account. So if I was buying office supplies, I could have a part class that says office supplies, and I could drill down and let's say that's in your 8,000 GL account range. You would put that account number in here. So if you're trying to track back, you can do it all the way from the invoice level back to the purchase order, back to the part class, and take a look at where it's being booked. That's about the only way that you can see where those costs are coming from. So if you're starting with the general ledger, that's how you would back up. Does that answer your question?
She says, I'm in the accounting department. Thank you. This is exactly what I needed.
Good.
Thank you so much, Barb. And I think we'll wrap up here for today.